Hey everybody, so today I wanted to do a video discussing some of the books that I picked up in my last video, which was my library vlog. So I finished up a couple books and I want to talk about them briefly, spoiler free. Also the lighting might change a little bit because it's very cloudy right now, so just in case it gets really dark, that's what's happening. So the first book that I picked up during that haul was Bird Box, which is very creepy, very chilling. I don't even want to describe the premise too much because that's why I filmed this video 3 times, because I make it sound crazy and very boring, and I really don't want to do that right now. But it's like a post-apocalyptic world where essentially you are following the protagonist as she tries to get from location A to location B. There's 2 different timelines, so you kind of get to see how the world civilization kind of collapsed and why there are very few survivors. So it's like The Walking Dead, but there's no zombies. You don't really know or find out what's causing all this chaos, if that makes sense. So the ending is very ambiguous. Essentially, people have been killing themselves off, both the people around them and then committing suicide because of something they see, and it's unclear what they're seeing. Is it a monster? Is it an alien? Who knows? The fact that it's a very ambiguous ending kind of turns me off. I mean, I expected it for sure. That tends to happen with any psychological thriller, horror, anything like that. It tends to leave it up to the viewer to kind of make their own assumptions, but I would have preferred to have found out what the hell they were looking at. That made them go crazy. Anyway, back to the writing. It is very well written. I do enjoy that. That makes up for the ending, the fact that it is so well written. Next book that I picked up and have already finished is A Darker Shade of Magic. So this is a fantasy adult fiction novel. I am so glad I picked this up, mostly because it was just stepping out of my comfort zone. I picked up something that I wouldn't have normally tried or gravitated towards. Basically, there's a couple Londons. There's Black London, White London, Red London, and Grey London, I believe. And there's one person, he's not a human. He's a different race or something, but he's a magician, or that's what they call him, and he's able to travel through all these dimensions. Essentially, he has a special job that only he can perform, him and one other person in the world. And it's just an adventure story. It's fantasy. It's very nice world building. I do enjoy the writing. It's just not something that I fell in love with completely. It's not something that I would recommend to a friend. Normally when I recommend things to people, it's because I know they're gonna really love them. And for me, even though I enjoyed it and I finished it in like 2 days, it wasn't something that I really loved, honestly. I'm not even sure what it is. I think it might be the female protagonist. I'm not in love with the way she was written. You know, nowadays there's like more there are more like empowering female characters in novels, but sometimes it just comes across like arrogance, or like you already know where it's going. Like, I rolled my eyes at several points in this novel just because I already knew, you know, she's a badass, she could do anything, and you know, the guy's like, oh, I want you to be safe, and she's like, nah, I can handle this, like, I got this. And I don't know, like, I didn't connect with her. I didn't connect with her story. You're meant to feel some sympathy for her because, you know, she grew up in the streets and all this stuff. This is London, side note, and if I didn't already mention that, even though they don't have English accents, or it's not written in a way where I could really tell that they're English, or at least not her. I enjoyed it and I'm gonna keep reading them. I think it's a trilogy, but I was just not as obsessed with it as I wanted to be. The other book that I picked up was a memoir by Diana Guerrero, who is in Jane the Virgin and what is it, Orange is the New Black. So she's Colombian. I picked this up because I knew her story a little bit. She did an interview on the news, and she explained her family story. Essentially, when she was 14 years old, she came back from school and found that her parents were gone, even though they should be there. Their car was there, their stuff was there, but her parents were absolutely gone. And it turns out they got deported. They just ripped that family apart. And she mentioned, it's such a sad story, and I remember crying when I saw her interview for it. I think it's the reality for many of us who are Hispanic and who have families who came to this country, you know, hoping and dreaming and having these goals, and then coming here and realizing that things aren't amazing as they thought they would be, or as the American dream kind of sets things up to be. I really related to this book because there are certain things that she's talked about doing that I remember my parents did with us and my brother, and, you know, living in fear a little bit. It took my parents many years to become citizens in this country. The process is long and expensive. There's weird restrictions and stuff like that, so her parents definitely struggle with that. And to have her, and to be 14 years old and come home and, you know, realize that your parents were like literally taken away from you, it's obviously a life-changing event. She mentions that she slips through the crack of the system, because if that were to happen normally, what should be happening is that a government official comes and, you know, takes the child somewhere. Like, you get into a program, you get sent to another family member, whatever. But essentially they forgot all about her, so her family friends kind of had to step in and help raise her. And it's just hard to read in one sitting because it is such a, like, sad story a little bit. I mean, obviously there's optimism. Obviously she's doing all right because she's in Hollywood now as an actress and whatever, but super cool. I love that she's Colombian. A lot of the stuff is relatable. The slang is relatable. A lot of things that she did growing up. I mean, with all Hispanics, really, there's a lot of overlapping parallels, but I think there's something special when you read something from someone who's born in the same place that you are or your family was born in. So that's cool. So it's cool to see that, to recognize the music and the slang and the certain traditions and stuff, little nuances here and there. Anyway, that's basically all I've read so far. I mean, I'm reading some other self-help books, but I think I'm going to leave that for another video. I'm going to talk about those self-help books a little bit later. I need to read them more and kind of do my homework with them. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time with another video.